Simon and Martina asked,
what's up with intellectual property laws in Korea?
what a good question we just asked.
Do they even exist?
I really want to know about this one. Whoa, guys. Whoa.
Now, intellectual property might be the wrong phrase here, but we're thinking more along the lines of like copyrights and issues along those lines, because it seems as if copyright law and intellectual property laws here aren't really strictly enforced.
Or perhaps don't exist. Now, I know there's going to be some keyboard warriors out there that are going to say, of course, Korea has copyright laws. They're going to have enforcement of this kind of stuff. Of course it happens. It very well might exist. We just want to say that we don't really see enforcement of it or any punishment.
I just don't understand how some of these things can legally pass. So for example, a long time ago in Bucheon, we did a video about the Angelina Jolie bar, which is a tiny bar. It's got pictures of Angelina Jolie all over it. I'm not necessarily sure if Angelina Jolie really was motivated to make a bar in Bucheon. My understanding is that they probably just took that name and those images without asking her.
And it's not just in Bucheon. There are shops that have like the Nike logo, but it's turned into like a rhino horn.
And it's like still white, but it has the orange background, and you know that it's a Nike logo that just has some horns on it.
There was that Hagwon bus that drove around that had the Apple.
Oh yeah.
Like the Apple Finder logo.
Yeah, they're like, hey, that looks nice. There's also a dentist that want to be using that as well.
Oh right.
The exact same one.
I've seen the actual white Apple logo used for places.
Coffee shops have like the white Apple logo on it.
Yeah, I mean like people should be getting sued left, right, and center for opening up these kind of shops.
One of my favorite ones is that North Face apparel is really popular here in Korea, but it's also a little bit expensive. So if you can't afford the North Face, why not go for your second best option, Blackface? I'm not joking. There's a company that looks just like North Face, but they call themselves
same font.
Blackface. There's so much more in that name than you know.
And they sell sports clothing as well.
A whole other topic for TLDR than K-pop artists and your blackface. Take, for example, this Chicago hat that I'm wearing that I bought here in Korea. Ain't that nice? Let me tell you something. It's not official. It's a ripoff.
Okay, so when we asked the guy that made the hat, and
we actually contacted the guy afterwards.
And so we said to him like, oh, I'm really curious, like how did you get permission to use the logo? Like did you have to pay any fees? Because he also uses other logos like Chanel and like
Yves Saint Laurent, and we were like, how do you get permission to print this? And he was like, permission?
Permission? What do you mean?
What is this permission you speak of? Why do I have a Russian accent now? I don't understand.
And here's the thing that I find really surprising about it. And this is where I think the idea of like, there could be laws, but they're not enforced comes in. If I was to make a bar or a coffee shop or a clothing store in North America, I'm gonna use the Nike check mark. There's no way I would even have that thought process because I think to myself, I could get in real big trouble for that. Or like how GD and Top use the Playboy bunny symbol on their album
For their album.
If somebody handed me that album cover and they're like,
oh,
no, we can't use this. Like we're gonna get sued, right?
Awesome.
That costs a lot of money. No, and that's why GD and Top had to like pull their album cover and change it around. Like
these are thought processes that go with us, but don't necessarily seem to be that big of a conversation point here in Korea. I feel like the best way to describe how intellectual property is treated here in Korea is pretty much, come at me, bro, I ain't scared. I think the idea is more like, they're a small business in Korea. What are the odds that an international company is gonna come here to Korea, hire lawyers, and go through the legal process? I think that they realize that other companies overseas is too big of a hassle for them, so they do what they want. Well, I remember hearing a lot more about copyright issues before. It seems like now, as of late, over the past year, over the past 2 years, it seems as if Korea is starting to do a little bit better with intellectual property and copyright.
Yeah, I think that now they're becoming global, they realize that in becoming global, it's a double-edged sword. On one hand, you're like, yay, people are buying our stuff. But on the other hand, people are like, we noticed that you copied us, Samsung. I would like to retract my past statement that I said about Samsung.
We didn't mean it.
There was no such copying that occurred.
Please don't cut off any more of my toes. This is happening to us as well. It's something that we're experiencing, especially with the growth of YouTube. We've had some experiences in the past with our intellectual property that really, frankly, suck.
Now, there are many examples of this having happened to us, but most recently there's been one that extra ticked us off.
There's a very big broadcasting channel in Korea. It's a Korean broadcasting channel. I'm not gonna name any names.
We don't want to say anything. But it's like a system.
It's worldwide. It's not just in Korea.
That broadcasts around Korea.
And what wound up happening happening is that they wound up contacting us because they wanted us to be part of their show. So we listened to what they wanted us to do, and it was a typical, talk about Korean food and ooh, is kimchi spicy, and say how much you love Korean food. And we've done those programs a long time ago. We don't necessarily want to do them again because...
And it was going to take up like 3 to 4 hours of our filming day.
Yeah.
And we just didn't want to do it. We've done so many of these programs in the past. It's kind of boring for us now.
So when we wound up telling us specifically that no, we don't want to be part of your program, they said, okay, fine. And then they just downloaded a bunch of our videos and put it on their program instead, even though we told them that we don't want to be part of your program.
And this is like a TV show. This isn't like a non-profit organization. This is a television show where people get paid. Like, they get paid to be actors. The people at the company get paid to edit. They get paid to film stuff. And rather than actually having some kind of business ethic where you would say, well, they didn't want to be on the show, they didn't want to film with us, we probably shouldn't download their stuff and cover up their logo with our logo.
Yeah.
They just did that anyways.
And they didn't pay us for it. They didn't ask us permission for the videos. They just took it all.
They didn't even email us to say, hey, to let you know, we're going to put you on the show. Is this okay? They literally just took it.
Now, we don't want to make this seem as if like this is the wild, wild west and everybody's just stealing everything that they want. There are some changes happening. We wound up finding some stuff online, like on Korean law blogs, that there are some cases and there are some settlements in which the courts are starting to crack down on this a little bit more.
Yeah, you especially see this with plastic surgery clinics because a lot of K-pop idols, their faces are being taken and put on the plastic surgery clinics.
Yeah.
Which,
look as beautiful as this girl.
And so a lot of like celebrities are saying, well, I didn't have plastic surgery done. How can you use my face to sell your product?
Why would you misrepresent me that way?
Yeah, so they've been able to like sue them or been able to get them to take it down, or especially with a lot of online games as well, where they're taking like baseball player stats, that kind of thing.
Without asking the baseball player's permission.
Yeah, and they're making money off of it. So I do see like a big change happening, but we still see a lot of things like variety shows using 7 to 10 different clips from like foreign songs, and you're like, there's no way you got permission.
Clear the rights for that, because we know from people that are in the music industry that if you want to say license an RJD2 song, for example, it will cost you around $300,000 to $500,000. Dollars. I don't think that the shows here in Korea are paying that money.
No. 10 songs in one episode, and you're using like Lady Gaga, Justin Bieber, like it's just not happening. So I do think that we're going to see a big shift and change. We've already seen it happening with the K-pop songs.
This is the saddest example of it all, especially for some of you tourists. 5 years ago, if you go to any subway, you could see a whole bunch of socks with K-pop idols on them, like Big Bang, Super Junior, TVXQ.
And it would change for like every album that came out. Like it was like top with the black hair, top with like the half-shaved head. It was like constantly up to date.
You get a pair for $1. You can get 6 pairs for $5. But now, as of late, they're so difficult to find. There's been a crackdown on K-pop socks.
So sad. I'm guessing the K-pop companies are like, how can you sell that without giving us any money?
There needs to be like some black market, like, hey, you want some K-pop socks?
Well, that's Myeongdong.
Yes, So I think the general message is that intellectual property within Korea is starting to be defended more when it comes to international intellectual property and copyrights. They still are pretty much freely used here, it seems.
If you're watching companies that take our stuff, try not to crop out our logo. That's why we put it there.
Rude.
That's just totally rude. It's there for a reason.
You know, there was that actual poster of us outside of a restaurant in Bucheon from like, because we did a video review and they put up like screens of that on their...
They didn't tell us.
No one asked us.
We got a text message from our friend being like, I'm pretty sure your posters are up in front of a Naengmyeon restaurant. I'm like, what? And we come back from Canada and there's pictures of us everywhere.
I'm not the spokesman for
Ask
this.
me.
Why?
Luckily, it's a great restaurant.
We like it. So we're going to talk a little bit more about this on our blog. So if you want to read more of our thoughts, make sure you click on the link here and you can see our experiences with it.
I think we should stop talking about it before someone knocks on our front door and then you see a screenshot of the outside of our building from the 4th floor and then we're like, sailing out of it.
We have the little camera so we can see if it's a crazy guy with gloves. So that's it for this week's TLDR. If you have a question for next TLDR, leave your question in the comment section below.
Or you can check out questions already asked and thumb them up to get to our attention, or send us a tweet. We've been getting lots of cool tweets lately.
And don't forget to subscribe for more TLDRs as we dodge the police and the legal committee here for trying to claim our copyrights.
It's not that we're doing anything wrong.
We're not doing anything. We're trying to put the message out there.
You know what would be nice? I would have no problem with a lot of these places using our stuff if they said, hey, check out this blog, Eatyourkimchi.com, or Simon and Martine on YouTube, but they don't even mention where you're from. It's like these magical clips that appear on their show and they crop out your logo and they're like, there's these people talking about Korea. Like, just tell them where it's from.